It was just a few days past Hanukkah that my wife and I made our aliyah to Eretz Yisroel 5 years ago. We got off the plane and took a taxi to our apartment in Ramat Beit Shemesh. Being that Hanukkah had just ended, there were still posters in the hallways and the walls of the building that we were renting our apartment in. And so it was the very first thing that my wife and I saw were the posters hanging on the wall that stated those 4 echoing words, Nes Gadol Haya Po, which means there was a great miracle that occurred here. To be honest, I never went to yeshiva or spent much time in Eretz Yisrael before we made our aliyah. Seeing those words was actually a complete shock to me. Growing up in America, I only knew of the words Nes Gadol Haya Sham. There was a great miracle that happened over there. I literally never realized that in Eretz Yisrael, the word Sham, which means there, was replaced with the word Po, which means here. At that very moment, I realized something which may be quite obvious, but I don't think we spent quite enough time contemplating the depth of it. See, in my conversations with Jews from around the world, the thought process of aliyah usually comes with a very long list of issues attached to living in Eretz Yisrael. Just to name a few, the chinuch, parnasa, community, chiyuvis, kiyumis, Rav Moshe Feinstein, Rav Avigdor Miller. What about the rabbis, the army, the language, the government, so on and so forth? The mitzvah of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael is inspected, scrutinized, and dragged through the dirt in a way that no other mitzvah has ever been. And frankly, it's disrespectful and embarrassing to Hashem's holy, chosen land, which was given to us as an inheritance from the creator of the universe to conquer, possess, and, wait for it, live in it. Not as a vacation destination, not as some Jewish symbol or a nice painting on the wall, not as something we sing about in nursery rhymes. No, Hashem made it very clear that Eretz Yisroel was given to live in it. Not just during the times of David HaMelech, and not just during the times of Moshiach. No. Eretz Yisroel is our home for all of time. But let's be honest with ourselves. None of the excuses we just listed, or that people use, are actually the reason that Jews remain in the exile. Let's be real. It's really hard to move to another country, and that's okay. Because honestly, if tomorrow the army would become fully religious, or if 100 new schools would open up for American kids, or if new communities would open with very affordable housing, or you were offered a really good job with very decent pay, most Jews still would not come. But if we can understand why we should live in Eretz Yisrael, maybe our long list of excuses might not be so daunting. So let's go back to those 4 very sacred words. Nes Gadol Haya Po. There was a great miracle that happened here. Those 4 words may be the single greatest reason to pack your bags and come on home. See, miracles take place here in Eretz Yisrael. Not in New York, not in New Jersey, not in Muncie or Europe. No. Miracles happen here, in the most miraculous place in the world. Avram and Sarah, naturally, were unable to have children, but in their very old age, they had children because they came to Eretz Yisrael, where God told them miracles would take place for them. Prophecy, it only happens in this land. Even all the miracles of the Exodus from Egypt, it was all to set the stage and lead the path for the Jewish people to come to Eretz Yisrael. The Hanukkah story, guess what? Here. The Beis HaMikdash, here. The list goes on and on. Now don't get me wrong, miracles take place for many people all around the world, all the time. But the open and revealed miracles, which affect the entire Jewish nation as a whole, miracles that are completely undeniable, they only take place here in the miraculous land of Eretz Yisrael. But unfortunately, after we sinned, we were exiled and thrown out of this holy land. And the open miracles, well, they came to an end. You probably never heard of the great miracles of the year 1286 or 1595. Well, because in the last 2,000 years, as long as the Jews remained outside of this holy land, there were no major, groundbreaking miracles. Only a lot of pain and bloodshed, and a hope for a brighter future. But then a little over 100 years ago, the Jewish people started returning to our homeland. And with that, the miracles began yet again. 7.5 million Jews now living in our ancestral homeland, just as God miraculously promised. From a 2,000-year-old dry, dead, desolate desert to a prosperous, green, beautiful land. Farms, fields, fruit and vegetation in abundance, just as God miraculously promised. 1948, less than 3 years after the Holocaust. Whatever was left of the broken Jewish people. Within 1 day of declaring Israel's independence, they were attacked by every Arab country that surrounded them. And they won. A miracle just as great as the Hanukkah story itself. 1967, yet again, Israel is attacked by many of its Arab neighbors, heavily outnumbered, with the sole intention of murdering every single Jew. And of course, not only did we win, but we walked away conquering the Sinai Peninsula, Gaza, Yehuda, the Shomron, the Golan Heights, and of course the old city of Yerushalayim, which includes the Kosel and the Har HaBayis. Let's fast forward through thousands of other miracles that have been taking place here in Eretz Yisroel. In this most recent war, since October 7th, approximately 30,000 rockets, missiles, and drones have been shot at the tiny state of Israel, of which, by the way, 6,500 rockets were shot at Israel on October 7th alone, within just a few hours. Even the mighty Iron Dome didn't stand a chance. Statistically, even mechanically, the Iron Dome cannot fight off that much rocket fire in one shot. Yet, where's all the major damage? All the death? Where are the giant piles of dead Jewish bodies? Which is exactly what our enemies intended to do. Yes, people were killed and many injured, but 30,000 rockets and drones shot at a tiny piece of land, smaller than that of New Jersey. It would take days to go through every single miraculous story of every rocket that hit and should have killed tens, if not hundreds or thousands of people. But they didn't. Stories such as the playground that should have been filled with children, but it wasn't. Or the hospital building that took a direct hit, but was evacuated just a few hours prior. Truth be told, if not for the clearly open hand of God, His miracles, and His unlimited love for Klal Yisrael, there wouldn't be a single Jew living here in Eretz Yisrael. The facts are simple. Nes Gadol Haya Po. This is the land of miracles. You know why? Because this is the land of God. Tamideni Hashem Elokecha ba mireishis Hashana ad achris Hashana. It's the land that Hashem personally watches and guides every moment of every day. Not through a malach, not through messengers, but God Himself is here on the ground. You can go around Eretz Yisroel and ask a lot of questions, but one reoccurring theme you'll hear from almost everybody here. Life in Eretz Yisroel is miraculous. The frum people, the secular, and even the politicians will all agree on this one point. Even David Ben-Gurion famously stated, in Israel, in order to be a realist, you must believe in miracles. So please, do yourselves a favor. Stop with the distractions, the chiyuvis, the kiyumis, yirabanim, gedolim, chinuch, parnasa, and everything in between. Be man enough to look in the mirror and just say, I don't have the guts to pick up and move. It's very healthy to be honest with ourselves, because denial is the enemy of change and progress. And so if you can be honest with yourselves, if you can break away from that weak, sheepish, gullus mentality that you've been fed your entire lives, for just a moment, ask yourselves, does Hashem really want millions of Jews to stubbornly stay in America and Europe? Is Hashem raising the levels of anti-Semitism around the world just for fun? 7.5 million Jews living in Eretz Yisrael. Is that just luck? The miraculous wars of 48 and 67 and every other war. Do you think there may have been some substance or reason for all of those miracles and our success? People like to say, some Jews can live in Eretz Yisrael, but hey, it's not for everybody. I ask you, where in the Torah does it say that? When Hashem told Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov that He's giving us this land, He never once said, I'm giving this land to you and for half of your children. When the Torah and Chazal tell us that Eretz Yisrael is the very best place for tefillah, prayer, Torah, teshuvah, mitzvos, and connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When the Gemara states one who lives in Eretz Yisroel is deserving of Olam Haba, when Chazal tell us one who lives outside of Eretz Yisroel, it's as if he has no God. Or, one who lives in Eretz Yisroel is quicker to be forgiven of his sins. Or the ear of Eretz Yisroel makes one wise. When Chazal tell us that Hashem gave the world 10 portions of Torah, and Eretz Yisroel got 9 out of the 10. When we're told, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, all Torah emanates from Eretz Yisroel. In the Sefer Charedim, he writes, every moment a person is in Eretz Yisroel, he fulfills a mitzvah d'oraisa. The Arach Chaim and the Zohar, they write that true simcha can only be attained in Eretz Yisroel. I can go on and on with this list for hours. Any God-fearing Jew who honestly wants to use his life to the max, to get closer to Hashem, to do more mitzvos, to learn more Torah, and be more holy, I ask you, do you really think that you're better off in America? And I'm sure many will say, yeah, but there are real problems in Eretz Yisrael. So I ask you, America doesn't have any problems? Kids don't go off the derech in America? Is nobody struggling financially in America? Is the chinuch system in America absolutely perfect? That you have nothing to kvetch about? Fact is, you make it work in America. Whatever the issue is, why not make it work here, in our actual home? And if you truly believe that the issues in Eretz Yisrael are so severe, then why don't you come do something about it? Come help open more schools. Vote for more God-fearing politicians. Help start more businesses. Start more communities. Even right now, as we speak, there are many communities in America being built in new states, hick towns, all over the place. And guess what? They don't have mikvahs. They don't have yeshivas. They don't have kolalim. So what are the Jews doing? They're building them. They're starting them. They're creating the infrastructure. It's not rocket science. If they need more schools, they open them. If people are struggling financially, they open up more tzedakah funds.
Wat is het bedoel?
Je was de Finn of Lakes doen.
Finnef Lakes. Beautiful. Een back van de hoes, een front van de hoes. Gaan we ze alles doen in. Het is de eerste gereidische, heimische, naaie plaats. Was komt met alles. Het zijn zo'n tamatoires, schools.
You can have 8 bedrooms on top. This is an Emerald model home. And I'm going to take you down this whole row. 5 commercial buildings, which include the school, the shul, the mikveh, supermarket, and the shopping plaza.
Freuen, even was ja boinem, häusler spinno. Du steimerins, gaat steiner mit zum Geider. Taumateure von Lakefront. Jetzt gehen wir du mit
full kitchen, very, very large kitchen with beautiful window space.
Birth of a Yiddish community, a Jewish community, in a place that's so new and so raw to what we're bringing to it, that you can't help but to feel inspired.
There are very few opportunities where a person could be a trailblazer, come out to somewhere where no Yiddishkeit has ever existed, and bring the Dvar Hashem to daven, to learn.
Everyone's looking to create a beautiful new life for themselves, and I think that shared vision will enable it to be successful.
I think the people that have the courage and then the atzmas to go ahead and do this now are not only going to find it that's worth their while, but they're going to look back and be very grateful that they made those first steps. And our only job at Chef Living is make sure they make those first steps and they make that courageous jump and they believe in our vision. They're not just here to sell a house, they're here to support the growth of the community.
If you want to live life like a pioneer and if you want to do something exciting in life, this is a great opportunity to jump in.
The Jewish people have been able to start new communities in practically every single country around the world over the last 2,000 years. But in Eretz Yisrael, apparently, there is simply nothing we can do other than wait for the fiery eagles to descend from heaven and pick us all up. Instead of building up Hashem's chosen land to make it even better for the Jewish people, to make it better for your children who will live here in just a few years, millions of Jews would rather build up America. Even while they continuously spit in your faces and chant that the Jews should get out, and many of them chant death to the Jewish people, death to Israel. That's the country you're working on building up? That's the country you're investing in? That's the country you're building your mansions in? It's embarrassing. And every single person investing every penny into that country should be ashamed of themselves. You know why the people all around the world hate Israel? Because even the Jewish people themselves have no care for it. Maybe if Jews would start respecting Eretz Yisrael, so would the nations of the world. You know, when all is said and done, it really doesn't matter if Yishuv Eretz Yisrael is a chiyuvis or a kiyumis. I don't care about the Satmar view, or if your rabbi hates secular Zionism. The fact is simple. Eretz Yisrael is the land of Torah, mitzvos, tefillah. It is the land of Hashem and the land of the Jewish people. It's called Eretz Yisroel. This is not complicated. I find it truly crazy that I need to make videos trying to convince Jews to move to the land that they've been praying for hundreds of years, day in, day out. Shmona Esrei, Tehillim, benching, everything. We keep praying for this land. And then Hashem makes it available for us, and we just say, no thanks. It's truly, deeply, and utterly insane. Just open your eyes. Look around, see what's going on. Think for yourselves just a little bit. Don't you want to be in the land of miracles? Don't you want to be in the land of Hashem? Now, I know I get a bit worked up, but I want you to know something. Everything I say, all the time I put in, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, at this point thousands of hours, into making these videos. However much I get worked up in these videos, it all comes from a place of deep and true love for all of my brothers and sisters. Because the fact is, I truly, deeply wish every single Jew can experience what I experience and what thousands of Jews here in Eretz Yisrael experience every single day. The hardest part about explaining to the Jews in Chutz La'aretz how important it is to live in Eretz Yisrael is because they don't live here. You don't know what it means to live in Eretz Yisrael until you breathe the air here, until you learn the Torah here, until you're fully immersed in the holiest place in the world. So before you write angry comments, send me angry messages, telling me I'm an extremist, I'm just doing it out of love. I truly, deeply wish that every Jew can have the life that I have here. The part of the life of being in Eretz Yisrael, living with Hashem, living in this land, being able to work this land, being able to grow my connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the place that our ancestors could only have dreamed of living. Chazak ve'ematz, guys. May you all be blessed with the guts and courage to do what you know deep down inside is truly right. And make the greatest kiddush Hashem the world has ever seen. And again, if you guys are getting motivated, if you're being inspired, if you're enjoying these videos, or if you're simply being entertained by them, if you enjoy watching me get worked up and yell at you, please partner with us. It takes an immense amount of time and effort to make these videos. Again, I don't work much anymore, my regular job. I spend most of my time making these videos, helping build up the land, trying to bring Moshiach, and trying to bring Jews back home. If you want to help me out, I would greatly appreciate it if you can go to my website, make a donation, homeboundisrael.com. And of course, the best thing you can do is please share these videos. Tell a friend, share them around with family, your community. Like, subscribe, and God bless you all. We'll see you next time. Chazak ve'ematz.